Hwang Dong-soo managed to kidnap Jinho and was forcing him to confess who had killed his brother, Hwang Dong-suk. However, Jinho refused to reveal what he knew and instead told him, "Fuck off." Enraged, Dong-soo grabbed Jinho's head and smashed it against a pole. Afterward, he noticed one of Jinwoo's shadow soldiers watching them and prepare for a fight. The shadow soldier trembled in fear, but it wasn't because of Hwang Dong-soo. It was terrified because it could feel the overwhelming rage of its king, Sung Jinwoo. Dong-soo charged at the shadow soldier, but before he could strike, Jinwoo used Shadow Exchange to swap places with his shadow soldier. Jinwoo immediately unleashed a powerful punch on Hwang Dong-soo out of sheer rage. Jinho was quickly given a healing potion, but since his HP was already below 10%, the damage can't be recovered. This only fueled Jinwoo's anger even more. Jinwoo asked Dong-soo's two companions if any of them were healers, but they remained silent. This caused Jinwoo's bloodlust to rise, and he ordered them to heal Jinho. However, they simply responded that they couldn't speak Korean. Dong-soo finally returned, ready to fight, claiming that this was his first meeting with Sung Jinwoo. Jinwoo gave one final request for the two to heal Jinho, but one of them confidently replied that Jinwoo would have to convince his boss first. Without hesitation, Jinwoo dashed forward, grabbed the man's head, and slammed it against a post. He then asked the other if he was a healer, but the man panicked, saying that Dong-soo had never told them Sung Jinwoo was involved. Jinwoo calmly asked again if he was a healer, but the answer was no. Using his commander authority, Jinwoo smashed the hunter's head with such force that it felt like gravity itself had crushed him. Dong-soo admitted that he knew Jinwoo was the one who killed his brother, Hwang Dong-suk, but he still wanted to hear him confess. Jinwoo didn't respond to Dong-soo's questions as they calmly walked toward each other to start the real battle. Jinwoo simply said, "Go ask yourself." Angered, Dong-soo immediately launched a powerful punch at Jinwoo, but Jinwoo effortlessly dodged and countered with a punch to Dong-soo's side. Jinwoo's fist sank deep into Dong-soo's body. Dong-soo coughed up blood from the sheer force of Jinwoo's punch, and in an instant, he was sent flying at incredible speed, crashing through a wall and bouncing across the floor until he slammed into a massive water pipe, finally stopping at the other side of the building. Despite the pain, Dong-soo remained conscious and could still feel his strength. However, he was shocked to see Sung Jinwoo standing atop the broken water pipe, simply waiting for him to notice. The two engaged once again, but this time, Jinwoo moved faster and grabbed Dong-soo's head, slamming it into the massive water pipe. With Dong-soo's head in his grasp, Jinwoo repeatedly smashed it against the thick metal, the sound echoing throughout the entire building. Suddenly, Thomas Andre arrived, saying he had already warned Dong-soo not to mess with Jinwoo. He then asked if Dong-soo was still alive. Jinwoo replied, "For now." Thomas Andre suggested they discuss the matter instead and let Dong-soo go. If Jinwoo agreed, he would pretend nothing happened. Jinwoo responded, "What if I don't?" Thomas Andre replied, "Well, then my request will no longer be a request, it will be a command." He was determined to make Jinwoo comply, realizing he had no choice but to fight a man consumed by rage. Jinwoo threw Dong-soo aside and said, "No problem." This was actually Dong-soo's true plan, to force Thomas Andre into a situation where he had no choice but to fight Jinwoo. Since Thomas Andre was the only one capable of defeating Jinwoo, he now had no other option but to kill him. Thomas Andre then asked Jinwoo if he knew who he was. Jinwoo answered, "It doesn't matter who you are." Andre thought to himself, Jinwoo knew exactly who he was, but still chose to fight him. Thomas Andre grew up in a poor immigrant family surrounded by enemies. One day, the universe granted him an extraordinary gift, the unmatched power to crush anything in his path. Through countless battles, Thomas Andre proved his natural talent, strength, authority, wealth, and brutality. With a power unlike any other in the world, he was crowned a king, a man who could destroy anything standing in his way, believing that violence itself was justice. Thomas Andre declared that Jinwoo would regret his ignorance. Thomas Andre's men arrived, along with hundreds of hunters who had been sent to prepare for the battle. However, they were all shocked when a massive explosion erupted, followed by an unknown force, sending vehicles flying. That force turned out to be Thomas Andre himself, standing in a defensive stance, having just been struck by Jinwoo's powerful punch. Everyone was stunned by what they had just witnessed. Thomas Andre calmly stepped forward toward Jinwoo, prompting all the hunters to prepare to join the battle. Jinwoo then ordered Igris to take Jinho to the nearest hospital and ensure he was treated immediately. Igris swiftly left, riding Kaisel. The entire scavenger guild, led by Thomas Andre, was now prepared for battle. This was no longer just a fight. It was guild versus guild. After all, Jinwoo was practically a one-man guild, considering he could summon an army of shadow soldiers. With a smirk, Thomas Andre said that now was the time to talk, as this moment was extremely important to him. He no longer cared about Wang Dongsu. There was only one way to restore his pride, to kill Sung Jinwoo. Thomas Andre told Jinwoo that it wasn't too late. If Jinwoo admitted his mistake and surrendered, he would give him a chance to live. Jinwoo responded with a powerful middle finger. Furious at the insult, Thomas Andre vowed that Jinwoo would regret rejecting his offer to live. Slowly, Thomas Andre's body began to change. His clothes tore apart as his body grew even larger. The hunters from the Scavenger Guild locked eyes with Iron, who was also prepared for battle. As Jinwoo and Thomas Andre stared each other down, they simultaneously gave the signal to begin the fight. Immediately, the two groups clashed: Scavenger Guild versus Agent Guild, Shadow Soldiers versus Hunters. The Shadow Soldiers had the advantage in numbers. However, the Hunters had the advantage in strategy and timing. The Scavenger Guild formed a defensive position, creating a massive magic shield. As the Shadow Soldiers charged forward, they crashed into the shield like waves against a wall, unable to break through. Some Shadow Soldiers were able to fly over to attack from above, but even then, it was still a challenge, as Thomas Andre himself was a force of destruction. Thomas Andre spotted Tusk in giant mode, casting Haim of Protection. He gathered strength in his legs and leaped high into the air. With a single strike, he shattered Tusk's shield and crushed his head. Thomas Andre landed atop a building, while Jinwoo calmly stood below, taking down any hunter who dared challenge him. Then, he noticed Thomas Andre approaching. Iron dashed forward, using his massive shield to block the way. However, Thomas Andre casually grabbed Iron and discarded him with sheer brute strength. Surprised, Thomas Andre realized that Jinwoo had suddenly disappeared. Then he noticed Jinwoo was already right beside him. Jinwoo dashed forward, aiming directly at Thomas Andre's body with the Demon King's dagger. But our protagonist was shocked because the Demon King dagger did not even pierce Thomas Andre's body due to its extreme toughness. Thomas Andre immediately punched Jinwoo's shoulder, sending him flying upwards, and said, "Do you think a national-level hunter is a joke?" He declared that he would make Jinwoo feel the difference in their strength and that he would engulf him in fear. Thomas Andre used a skill, and our protagonist noticed that it was psychokinesis. Jinwoo also used Commander's Authority to smash Andre to the ground. Thomas Andre was stunned by what he felt, because it was as if his entire body had been crushed into the ground. Even though he pulled Jinwoo using psychokinesis, Jinwoo still prepared a punch toward him. Jinwoo's punch landed squarely on Thomas Andre's face, sending him flying once more and making his mouth bleed. Jinwoo dashed in front of Thomas Andre again and said, "What did you say earlier? That you'd show me the difference in our strength and swallow me in fear?" Jinwoo launched a series of rapid attacks on various parts of Andre's body. Thomas Andre said, "All right, I won't underestimate you anymore," as his entire body gradually transformed and he uttered the word reinforcement. Meanwhile, one of Mr. White's companions wanted him to explain what was really happening. However, Mr. White said there was no time for explanations. He claimed that he was just a normal civilian and not a hunter, because if this incident escalated, everyone would be in danger. At that moment, Jinwoo realized that Thomas Andre was one of the 4 people who possessed the power of a ruler. And most likely, Thomas Andre was one of the hunters who survived the Kamish raid. That meant the 4 national-level hunters possessed the power of the rulers. Jinwoo charged again, but he saw that Thomas Andre's attack was unstoppable, so our protagonist retreated. The entire ground was shattered, to the point that he completely destroyed the terrain beneath him. Jinwoo was shocked by what he saw, because Thomas Andre had prepared an extremely unusual skill. A small black sphere was in Andre's hand, and he uttered the word, "Capture." All the hunters panicked and started running away, telling everyone to get far away from Thomas Andre. The small black sphere grew into an enormous one. It was absorbing everything around it, because it was actually a black hole. Jinwoo couldn't believe that Thomas Andre could create a black hole, and if it weren't for his commander's authority, he would have been sucked in already. The black hole absorbed everything around it, destroying buildings and other objects. Moments later, the black hole dissipated, and everything around Thomas Andre was erased. He then said that he would not miss his target this time, as he stared at Jinwoo. Many injured hunters were caught in the black hole's destruction, so they helped each other escape the area. Thomas Andre prepared to attack Jinwoo again, but our protagonist remained calm, waiting for him. As soon as Thomas Andre got close, Jinwoo casually stepped on his head to create distance. Thomas Andre used psychokinesis to prevent Jinwoo from escaping, so Jinwoo also used Commander's authority to pull Thomas Andre toward him, and it seemed like Jinwoo was preparing a devastating punch. Thomas Andre realized that Jinwoo was trying to pull him closer to take him down with just a punch, so he happily accepted the challenge. He gathered all his physical strength into his fist for an all-out clash of power. As their fists collided, a massive impact was created. But slowly, cracks began forming on Thomas Andre's reinforcement armor due to Jinwoo's sheer strength. He was utterly shocked at this moment, while our protagonist seemed completely unaffected. Thomas Andre was sent flying, crashing through a building's rooftop, causing its structure to collapse. But instead of staying down, Thomas Andre became even more enraged and immediately got up to face Jinwoo again. Jinwoo swiftly launched another attack, but Andre countered with a giant punch. Our protagonist dodged the attack. The force of Thomas Andre's punch that Jinwoo dodged caused massive destruction, splitting the ground in half due to its sheer power. Thomas Andre was shocked because Jinwoo managed to grab the horn of his helm armor and delivered a rapid knee strike directly to his face, causing cracks to appear on his reinforcement armor. At that moment, agents from the Federal Bureau of Hunters arrived, and they couldn't believe the intensity of the mana in the area. They wondered, what kind of monsters are fighting right now? The battle between Jinwoo and Thomas Andre raged on, causing even more destruction. But then, everyone was shocked by what they saw. Thomas Andre was being beaten up by Jinwoo. Jinwoo's fists relentlessly pounded on the national-level hunter. Jinwoo couldn't be stopped. Thomas Andre questioned himself, wondering how a mage-type hunter could have both speed and power. He could feel the full force of Jinwoo's fists and started to think that he might actually lose. But he couldn't believe it. It was impossible. He refused to accept it. Struggling, he tried to grab Jinwoo and declared, "I am the great Thomas Andre, the strongest national-level hunter. This isn't enough to defeat me so easily." Jinwoo leaped into the air, and by this point, Thomas Andre's face was shattered. But Jinwoo came back down, suddenly landing behind Thomas Andre and saying, "Didn't I tell you earlier? It doesn't matter who you are." All the Scavenger Guild hunters and the Federal Bureau of Hunters witnessed how Jinwoo mercilessly beat Thomas Andre with his fists. Mr. White pleaded, "Jinwoo, please, that's enough." But Jinwoo continued, even though Thomas Andre was already battered beyond recognition. His reinforcement armor was completely destroyed. Finally, Thomas Andre admitted defeat, declaring that the battle was over and that he had lost. Jinwoo stopped. Mr. White was in disbelief. He couldn't believe that Jinwoo had actually defeated the strongest hunter in the world. So he immediately ordered a healer to tend to Thomas Andre. The healer assessed the damage and said, "His bones are shattered. I can't heal him alone. I need my team." He added, "The only reason Thomas Andre is even surviving this kind of damage is because he's a national-level hunter. If a normal hunter suffered this kind of injury, it would be like being killed 10 times over." Mr. White noted that, despite the chaos, no one had actually died, only the hunters suffered injuries, so he was just relieved that things didn't escalate further. But then, someone called Mr. White and said, "Wang Dong-su is no longer breathing." And just like that, Sung Jinwoo disappeared. The scene then shifted to a beautiful view of Seoul, Korea. Jinwoo sat atop a building, accompanied by his new shadow soldier. He had switched places with Beru using shadow exchange. At that moment, Beru was doing everything he could to heal Jinho. Jinwoo then asked his new shadow soldier, "It's been a while since you've returned to Korea. So, what do you think of the view of Seoul?" The shadow soldier responded, "My king, please give me a name." Now we saw the birth of a new level 1 ranked general, just like Beru, Jinwoo's newest shadow soldier. Jinwoo said, "How about I name you Greed, since you died because of your greed?" Then he asked, "What do you think of your new name, Wang Dong-su?" The shadow soldier replied, "Thank you, my king." After that, Jinwoo commanded him to lower his head, as if punishing him,